My name is Hi! Did you want to be in the video? Do you want to be in my first video on my channel? You gotta go, buddy. Thank you. My name is Shy. I'm legally blind, and I made this blanket by myself, and I'm going to show you how to do the same thing. Okay, so this is my first ever video here on this channel. If you're here from my TikTok, thanks so much for coming over here. I made this blanket and I posted about it on TikTok, and everybody was like, how did you do that? all my VIP, visually impaired people, right? So that is people who are anywhere from 2200 acuity to completely lights out blind. And if you are anywhere on that spectrum, I'm going to show you a really easy way to do this. If you are not on that spectrum, it's still a really easy way to do this.
Alright, so to do this project, you need a specific type of yarn, and the brand that I used is called Bernat Elise Blanket Easy.
There's a bunch of other brands like Lion Brand and Loopity Loop and a whole bunch of other stuff. But this is what I used for this specific project. What makes this stuff special, I'm going to take one that's already unraveled so I can show you, is the loops, which is why they call it loop yarn. Instead of it being just a straight piece of yarn, they bunch the yarn together with these little tiny pieces of thread to make it into loops. When you're knitting and crocheting, you use the knitting needles to make these loops on your own, and you have to keep them together with the needle. But if you're someone on the vision spectrum, it's kind of hard to see exactly what the needle is doing. So it's really nice to be able to just use your hands with something like this, because you don't have to see it, you can just feel it. I'm going to show you how to use this type of yarn. You can make all kinds of things with it. You can make a scarf, you can make a pillow, you can make a blanket like the one I made. So here we go. Let's get started.
So here, I've got a nice dark background, and I'm going to use a very bright color so that we've got some nice high contrast going. Funny story, when I bought this yarn, this color, I thought it was white. It is actually cream. So that was really annoying for me. But anyway, when you're starting a project, you want to decide what the width of your project is going to be. So for example, for that huge blanket, so that blanket is basically about a queen size, maybe a twin size. And I think I did like 30 loops across or something, and that's the width of the blanket. I've also made pillows and things that were 16, 18 loops across. For this example that we're gonna do, we're gonna make it 10 loops across. So you want to always leave 2 loops to make your tail. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna get some scissors. So what you're gonna do is feel around for that little thread in between the loop, which is right here. I found it. So I'm gonna take my scissors, make sure that thread is sitting on my scissors, and I'm just gonna cut. And you want to do that twice with the end of your yarn so that you have a tail to your project. When you're done with your project, you're going to weave this in so that nothing unravels. So I'm just going to put those scissors down. And now from this tail, I'm going to count 10 loops, and that's going to be the width of this project. 10 loops isn't long enough for anything really, maybe a baby hat or something. I have no idea. This is just an example project. I'm not going to make anything with this. I'm probably just going to undo it after this video. So we're going to count 10 loops. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, so that means that this is the length of our project. And what I like to do sometimes is find something that I can clip to the end of this so that I don't lose it. So I'm actually going to use this hair clip to mark off my 10 loops. Well, this is what we call our working yarn. So this is our project. This is the start of our project, and this, all the extra, is our working yarn. So you're gonna bring that off to the side of you. Now, I tend to work left to right because we read that way, but it doesn't really matter. I have to hold it. So now that I've got that there, and I've got all my extra yarn heading this way, in the opposite direction of my project yarn, I'm gonna find this first loop of my project, right? So this is loop number 10, all the way over here at the end. That's what I'm at. So now I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna find the next loop. What would have been loop number 11 if I kept counting, right? So it's the next loop, I'm gonna find it. So that would be this one. And our next step here is you're gonna hold your loop up straight, pointing up towards your face, and you're gonna bring this loop that you just found, loop number 11, up through the back. So you're gonna take it, and it's gonna come stand behind the first one, and then you're gonna pull them through. So pull the back one through the front one. And I'm gonna leave my hair clip here so that nothing moves out of place, but I'm gonna move it soon. So I'm gonna show you that again because we're just gonna keep doing that. So you're gonna grab the next loop. So this was loop number 10, which means this is number 9. So I'm gonna grab number 9, and I'm gonna bring in the next loop on my working yarn through the back of number 9 and pull up. So now we've got 2 stitches, we call stitches. And we're gonna do that all the way down. So I'm gonna keep doing that until I get down to where my tail is. So I'm gonna grab this loop here, loop number 8, and take the loop that's behind it and go straight up the back and pull it through. So now we have 3 stitches. And now I think it's gonna stay long enough or stay secure enough. So I'm just gonna take this hair clip out because it's kind of, there we go. So I've got 3 stitches now. So I'm gonna keep doing that same process. Now we've made it all the way to where our tail is. So that means that this right here is all 10, our first 10 stitches. So what you want to do once you get to this point is you want to count to make sure that you have 10 so you didn't mess anything up. So we're going to go back and count. 1, 2, and while you're counting you want to pull them up to tighten them. You can see how wide this is. It's a little wider than my wrist. So the next step from here, now that we've got our first 10 stitches, our beginning starter row, we're gonna bring our skein of yarn, right, this guy, to the other side of us. And now we're gonna work backwards and we're gonna do the exact same thing that we did before. So that means we're taking the loop in the front, our project loop, we're taking our working loop, we're sticking it through the back, and we're gonna do the same thing we did before all the way down. See, it's kind of starting to turn into something. And we're gonna do the same thing we did before, where we're gonna go back and we're gonna count.
So after counting the loops and pulling them up so that they're secure, I just did the same thing going left and then right and then left and then right. And you do that long as you need to make the project as large as you need it to be. And because it's so tactile, as long as you make sure to check your rows by counting and pulling the loops up, it's really, really
now
hard
we're
to
gonna
mess
talk
this
about how to end this. Like, what do we do now? So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take those scissors you had, you're gonna come back to where you just ended from. I happen to be going left when I ended. You may be going right. So you're going to come here, and just like we did when we first started, where we cut that extra tail, we cut 2 loops, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to cut 2 loops. So that's 1. So now I have this 1 straight piece. I'm going to find the second one. We do the same thing. That's 2. And then we're going to cut this from our skein. This is all my leftover yarn. I've separated from it, tossed it to the side, use it for a different project. And we have to seal it. So this is where I cut my tail. So I'm gonna come to the other end from where my tail was. So my tail happened to be on the left side, so I'm gonna come to the right. Yours, like I said, might be the other way around. And I'm gonna get this first loop here on the right side of my project. And then I'm gonna get the second loop. So we're gonna call this loop number 1 and this loop number 2. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna weave them in and out of each other. So we're gonna take loop number 2 and put it through loop number 1, and then we're gonna pull it forward towards the left. So towards the end of your work, towards wherever your tail is. So my tail is on the left side, so I'm gonna pull towards the left. Then I'm gonna do the same thing. So now this is loop number 1, this here, because this one got flattened. So this is loop number 1 now. I'm gonna show you this again. And this is loop number 2. So we're gonna take loop number 2, and we're gonna put it through loop number 1, and then we're gonna pull it up and over. So now it got flattened again, right? So now you should have this little curve that I've got going on. And I'm gonna just keep going that way. So I'm gonna take, this is now loop number 1, this is now loop number 2. I'm gonna take loop number 2 and put it through loop number 1 and pull up, and now here. So if you look, it makes this really pretty kind of braided effect, and we're gonna do that all the way down to the end of our work. So now we have this beautifully sealed little weird square rectangle of yarn here. But now I know what you're thinking. We have this one extra loop, right? The last loop. We have this tail, and we have another tail here at the bottom. What the heck do we do now? So we're gonna take this extra loop, we're gonna take our tail, we're gonna put this tail through this extra loop and pull. And then, now what's gonna happen, and since the yarn is so chunky, it'll kind of blend in. So you're gonna take it, and you can go down the side, or you can go straight down across this way. I'm gonna go down the side. So I'm gonna turn mine this way to make it easier. Turn my project, vertically. You don't have to do that, but I'm gonna do that. And then you're gonna take your yarn, and you're gonna just kind of weave it in and out. Take your tail and sort of weave it in and out of your project to sort of hide it away. So we're gonna pretend it didn't exist. Tail, who's she? We don't know her. Never met her. She's gone, she's in the ether. And you're gonna do that, see, until you get to the end. And you're just gonna hide it. So because the yarn is so chunky and soft and plush, you can't even really see where we hid that yarn. But so we're gonna do the same thing to our other tail. So that was our top tail, this is our bottom tail right here. We're gonna do the exact same thing. And it doesn't actually matter. I'm gonna show you that it doesn't matter which way you weave it, because I'm gonna weave this one through the bottom. So I'm gonna go just in and out of the holes that the stitches kind of make. This is our project that we made. Ta-da! It's basically just a mini version of this huge blanket. If you enjoyed this, I can show you a bunch of different stitches so that we can make it look prettier and more complex. You guys let me know if you want to see more fun tactile projects like this that you don't really need your eyes for. Thank you so much for watching the first ever video that I made here on this channel. Please look forward to many, many more, and if you enjoyed this, do me a favor and go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys next time.
Bye, lovelies.